Hello everyone. I wanted to give you a preview of what we're calling the cloud version of Expresso. So when you use this new version, you are actually able to save your stories to our database in the cloud. So you still have the ability to download the stories to your desktop, but the neat thing is that you can also save them to the database, and it's just much easier for you to manage all of the different, let's just say, versions and the different stories that are within your series. Okay, so the first thing that you are going to do when you come to this new cloud version is you're going to log in with your Amazon account. And I'll just show you how this works. You just click on the button here. You'll see this pop up. And then you can choose if you have more than one Amazon account, and I know that some of you do, you can choose which one you want to use. You do not necessarily have to use the same Amazon account that is linked to your Echo device, but you can if you want. If you have a different Amazon account for your authoring personality, let's say, you can use that one. It really doesn't matter. As long as you have an Amazon account, you can remember your email and password, log in with that. When I did this, I chose this button here and it says keep me signed in. That way I really only have to do this once, and every time I come back to Expresso in my browser, it's going to log me in automatically. All right, so you have that ability. If you don't want it to keep you signed in, just don't click that checkbox. All right, so let me show you what it actually looks like with me logged in here. As I said, every time I come, I don't have to log in individually each time. So you can see that we have the choose series button here, and when I pull this drop down, since I'm logged in, it shows me all of the different series that I own, let's say, that I'm authoring, or that I'm working on. As an example, I can choose the Fantasia's Chocolate Shop series. I'll click it from the drop down here. And then to actually bring up the series, I click on the Choose Series button, and it's going to go grab all of the stories from that series, and it's going to load them into this drop down. And you'll see that I have 3 stories in the Fantasia Chocolate Shop series. So that's really nice. I don't have to keep all the files separately somewhere in a folder on my computer. I can just come here and say, okay, I've got these 3 different stories. Let's say I want to go back and work on the last one, maybe, that I've been editing, the Butter Pecan and Babies. I choose it here and I say load story. And then I'm going to get this pop up. This is just to kind of help you mentally think through what you're doing as you click on these buttons. If I happen to have been working on another story here and I had not saved it yet, I would want to save it before I loaded this new story in. But this is a blank canvas here, so I'm okay just going yes. And it loads in my story, Butter Pecan and Babies, and I can start working on it. All right, and you'll see I have multiple episodes, 2 episodes, actually 3 episodes in here. And now, if I'm working on it and I make changes to the story, I have the option, this is new, you'll see down here, I have the option to save story. And when I save the story, it's going to upload all the changes to the database. So my latest version is just always right there. You notice that I still have the ability to download the story like we did before we had the version where you could sign in. But I usually, now that I have the stuff loaded into the cloud version, I just choose to save story. All right, so let me show you how you can get started with this, because most likely you are going to have downloaded your story as a file, right? And you'll have it on your computer. All right, so let me show you a test that I did here. Now let's say I want to start that I want to load an existing series or story that I have into this cloud version, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to do the choose file like we've always done in the past, okay? I'm going to choose file. It's going to call up the files in my database. I've got this Amy's Demo story, so I'm going to click on that. And now you notice it also says, hey, you may lose the changes that you've made, because what's going to happen is it's going to overwrite this Fantasia story that I had pulled up. But that's okay. I didn't actually make any changes to it. So I'm going to say yes. And it's going to pull in my my demo file, Amy's demo series, right? That's Amy's demo series. You see the series is here. The story title is here. I've got my series log line, my story log line, and I've got the 3 episodes that I've been working on. So as long as I make sure that this is the series title that I want, this is really important, right? I have to make sure this is what I want. I have to make sure that this is what I want for my story name. Then I could come down here and I can save story, and it's going to add this series with this as the first story to the database. Okay, it's always going to add these stories in the order that you save them. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to say save story. And by saving that story, it is also creating this series. All right, so I'm just going to refresh the screen here. I can do a refresh. I'm going to refresh the screen. You'll notice it's going to log me in again automatically. And then when I choose the drop down, my demo series is there. I can choose the series, and you'll see that so far I only have 1 story in there, and I can load the story. So now I've saved this to the database, and if I make a change, let's just say I want to add some more information to this sentence here. I heard you're very interested in my engagement ring. That's wonderful. Okay, now what do? I just come down here and I save the story. And if I refresh the screen all over again, come in, like tomorrow or whenever, I'm going to choose my series, I'm going to load my story. Yep. Then you'll see it saved my information. Right, so that's how that works. Now let's say I wanted to add a second story that I haven't even started yet to this Amy's demo series. Now I can come down and you'll notice that I have the log line for the series, the log line for the story. All right, so I'm going to say, you know what, I want to create a new story in this series. So I'm going to click on the new story button. Again, it's going to remind me that this is going to overwrite stuff. So I want to make sure I've already saved what I was working on. So I'm going to say yes. Now you see when I come back, I still have my series name. I still have my series log line. I'm going to fill in the name of my story, Amy's Demo Story 2, let's call it. I can write my story log line. This is the second story in the series. And I can start working on my first episode. And now I'm going to go ahead and save it, right? Save the story. Now we'll see that, let me just refresh this again to make sure everything's working. When I load my series, I'm going to have 2 stories in here. And I can select the second story and continue working on it. If I decided that I don't like any of these stories, right, then I can click the delete story button. It's going to warn you that it's going to be deleting this. So, you have to decide if you really want to do it or not. I'll say, no, I don't really want to delete it. And once again, if you decide that you wanted to have a backup copy of all this, you can still download these stories, and it's going to download each story separately, right? Like you can download story 1, you can download story 2. Now the other thing that I can do is from within here I can click on this new series button, and it will basically give me a blank slate to start working on a brand new series. So we've already saved all this stuff. I think we're safe to do that. Let's click on new series. Now you just see that I have to enter my series title here. All right, let's just call it brand new series, and then first story. And then I could save that, all right, and I'd have my brand new series, which would show up in here. So again, I think that this is really going to help you manage your content, especially if you start thinking about creating a series that has multiple stories in it, which I would encourage you to do. And if you're starting with a file that you've already downloaded, you can just choose file, upload it, and then you can save it to the database. Just remember to get your series title and your story title correct. And then you can go from there. You can just keep building on it. So I hope you're going to find this really useful. And if you have any questions, let us know. We'll be releasing this pretty soon. So enjoy.